Here we have Robo Fish by Zuru. It's a battery-powered robotic fish that when it's put into water will swim and behave just like a fish. As you can see, this one is starting to look like a clownfish. It's just over 2 inches long. I'm going to spin the box so you can see the other styles available. There's about 8 different ones on the back there. And there's also a display stand. The batteries required to make this work are already supplied and installed in the fish, so it's ready to go out of the box. And you've also, in this packet, got 2 bonus batteries as well. So there's 4 batteries in total, 2 inside the fish. Let's get this out of the box and in the water. Let's see how well it swims. Okay, here he is out of the box, and I've popped him temporarily on his stand. What I'm going to do, just before I pop it in, is I'm going to show these 2 black proud points on both sides of the fish, and these 2 sensors actually allow the system to work. So when they're both connected together, or water shorts the circuit, and I'm going to do that with my fingers now, which is slightly damp, you can see that the tail starts to flap. So these are in effect the sensors that it uses to actually get the robot fish to start to swim. Let's pop it in the water and let's see it. It's all hard plastic apart from the tail, the very tail fin, which is very soft, delicate latex, and you have to be very careful with that, so I'm just showing you that briefly. Let's pop him in and let's get him swimming. So as you can see, before I popped it in the water, the tail wasn't flipping, and already quite quickly, once it's in the water, it had just enough time to fall to the very bottom, and already the tail started to flap. Now what you're able to see quite quickly is that the fish is able to both float to the surface, and when it has a good flip of the tail, it's able to then do a complete dive and go to the very bottom of the tank. Now we didn't do a very long dive there, and of course the actual random element of the fish is both the degree of flipping as well as the length of time. But there you go, he's now coming around, and although you couldn't quite see him because of the curvature of the actual fish tank, he actually had his nose just on the bottom there of the tank, and hopefully he'll have another good flap session, and in front of the camera this time. Hopefully he's not camera shy, and we'll actually see him go down again. So he's just going down now, just as he goes to the curvature of the water, which you can't see through so well. This is the miracle of light and water and optics. It almost looks like he's disappearing, doesn't it? And again, very low, not quite as low as the bottom there, but it all depends on the random element of how much flapping he's doing, and certainly the duration of the flip and the strength of the flip. And he seems to have, watching him, a few different modes. He seems to have pulses. He seems to almost stall and stop when he comes right back up to the surface, and he does seem to have a very hard flipping flap motion, in which he will actually then, because he's slightly nose heavy, will dive right to the bottom there like you saw there. You can see that one much more clearly, which is much better. Certainly the fish does look like a clownfish. It's a good robotic fish in that it does look like a real fish, and apart from that slight tapping noise you can hear, which is probably the nose and or fins on the side of the tank, because it is a plastic fish tank here, you wouldn't know any other way that it isn't a real fish. So much so, what I'm going to do is quickly drop in a little fish tank plant. It's only plastic, so it's not going to interfere or pollute the water in any way, and certainly I don't think it's going to get in the way, because it looks like the rubber fish is pretty much sticking to the sides, which is something that a lot of the robotic fish do. I've not seen him turn around yet. He's only goes in either anti-clockwise or clockwise. He certainly can be forced, when he comes back to the surface, I'll turn him around. He certainly can be forced to swim the other way, so there's nothing in the actual design of the robo fish that makes him only swim one direction. It seems to be a little bit of luck, whichever way he's facing, when he's in a circular fish tank like this one. Also included within the pack was these 2 spare LR44 batteries, so these are button cell batteries, 2 obviously included in the RoboFish, and the instructions that are at the very bottom of the test tube packaging that you can see there on the right also tell you some useful information that if you happen to have a fish that's a little bit too often it's at the bottom of the tank, so it's actually too heavy, there's actually a little weight within the battery compartment you can remove, and that will give it a little bit less weight and therefore be a little bit more buoyant and can come to the surface. But as you can see with this RoboFish, it's able to do both the very bottom of the tank, like it just did there for a good length of time, as well as come to the very surface, and indeed you can actually see its top fin just break the water, so it really does come to the very surface. So it's using the full height and good buoyancy. I'd say this has got good control over its ability to dive and to raise, so that's really quite nice. So apart from not turning around in directions, and it's only going in one clockwise or anti-clockwise depending on which way it's facing, I think all in all it's got a very good swimming motion. This would work really well in the bathtub. You can imagine kids having fun with this at bath time. Obviously a bigger fish tank that wasn't circular, you'd probably get even more fun, and certainly this would benefit from having some buddies in there. So if it had some friends which would interact and clash and hit each other, then I think that would also give a lot more realism, because you'd get more things darting across the water, and if they actually hit each other going face on, I think that might also help them change direction. So that's the kind of play ideas that I think you need to expand with the Robo Fish, that you need perhaps more than one. And although this is a 9-litre container, so that's about 16 pints of water, even bigger would be better. So although it's quite a large fish tank for a child's bedroom perhaps, it's for certainly these robotic fish, the bigger the better. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this helped with your purchasing decisions. Please feel free to like, subscribe and comment.